Welcome into the Dallas Cowboys fans. This one might feel like Cowboys report after dark. It's creeping toward 8:00 p.m. Eastern, and by the time the video goes live, it'll be even later. But we've got a lot to unpack, because the Cowboys' joint practice with the Rams has wrapped up, and it left us with more questions than answers. So sit back, settle in, and let's dive deep into everything that went down. Before we jump fully into it, quick reminder, we're in a sub-battle this month with Bears now. It's tight, but we're down by a bit. Still early in the month, and analytics are always a day behind, so every sub matters. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and help us take the lead. Now let's run through some quick Cowboys news before diving into the joint practice. First and foremost, Mazi Smith was back on the field today. He didn't do a ton, but that knee soreness that had been bothering him appears to be easing up. He had an MRI which clearly came back clean. That's big. The Cowboys need Mazi healthy and active as the season approaches. Also back in action was Andrew Booth. He did get caught on the wrong end of a highlight reel clip at one point, which isn't great, but at least he's out there. Still, no Tyler Smith though. The Cowboys continue to be extremely cautious with his knee tendinitis. Can't blame them. Better to be overly careful now than deal with something lingering into the season. Paris Campbell was officially released from IR today, and there's been a bit of confusion about what that actually means. To be clear, it doesn't free up a roster spot. He was already on IR. This just means the injury wasn't season-ending, and the Cowboys didn't want to pay him for the full year if he wasn't going to contribute. It's an injury settlement, which now gives him the chance to go sign elsewhere. Now, let's talk about Joe Milton. He started off strong in the joint practice, really benefiting from the depth advantage on the Cowboys' offensive line versus the Rams' defensive line. The twos gave him time, and he responded with a gorgeous deep ball to Jalen Brooks, who torched Darian Kendrick for a big gain. But that excitement was short-lived. Milton left the practice early after appearing to bang his thumb on a helmet and didn't return. Dr. Jerry Jones himself downplayed it, as he always does. Said it was nothing serious. Brian Schottenheimer also echoed those sentiments, saying Milton could have gone back in if needed. We'll see how true that really is once practice resumes on Thursday and Friday, leading into the preseason game on Saturday. Personally, I hope Milton is good to go. I want to see him play in the preseason. No offense, but I don't need 4 quarters of Will Grier again. So if you're with me and want to send some good vibes Milton's way, drop a JM in the comments and flood it in support of the young QB. Let's shift focus to the joint practice itself, and to be blunt, it wasn't great for the Cowboys. The Rams looked like the more physical team, especially early on. There's no official score in these types of sessions, but if you watched it or followed the beat reporters, you know the Rams controlled a lot of the action, particularly in the trenches. It felt like they punched Dallas in the mouth, and the Cowboys didn't respond quickly. And that's disappointing, especially considering how much emphasis the Cowboys coaching staff has placed on physicality this offseason. That message clearly didn't translate into execution against the Rams. It's only one practice, and yes, Dallas was down a few key starters, particularly along the offensive line, but the concerns that existed going into this practice didn't exactly get erased. If anything, they got reinforced. The offensive line, especially on the left side, struggled. Terrence Steele wasn't perfect on the right side either, but Nathan Thomas had a rough outing. Brock Hoffman had some trouble dealing with stunts and blitz pickups. The Rams' pressure overwhelmed the Cowboys' backups, and the run game just couldn't get going. Outside of one good run from Javonte Williams and a couple of flashes from Jaden Blue with the twos, there wasn't much to write home about. Hunter Luepke did get some red zone touches and punched one in, which was interesting with Miles Sanders sidelined. That's worth noting as it could hint at his role going forward, but overall, the run game was ineffective. Jared Verse, in particular, was a nightmare for the Cowboys' offensive line. He was all over the backfield, making life miserable for whoever was under center. Even though sacks are just theoretical in these practices, Verse had several plays that would have resulted in big losses during a real game. Nathan Thomas, again, looked overwhelmed. To be fair, he hasn't played in a real game situation against a non-teammate in nearly 2 years. Still, that rust showed. Without Tyler Guyton out there, it's hard to gauge where the Cowboys stand at tackle depth, but Thomas isn't the answer. If he's playing real snaps, Dallas better have some serious help schemes in place. Chips, double teams, anything. Because right now, I don't trust the offensive line depth, and if Guyton's not healthy by week 1, that's a major concern. On a more positive note, Dak Prescott and the passing game settled in as the practice wore on. Once they leaned into the quick passing game and the O-line held up just long enough, Dak made some strong throws. CeeDee Lamb, as always, was outstanding. No Rams corner really had an answer for him, and he made multiple highlight catches. George Pickens also stood out, making several impressive grabs. When the offense had time, they moved the ball through the air. The problem is, they didn't often have that luxury. This brings up the all-too-familiar storyline, asking Dak to save the offense. We've seen this script before. The run game falters. The offensive line struggles. And then it's Dak, go be Superman. The passing offense has the pieces to be really good. Lamb is elite. Pickens is growing into a weapon. The tight ends can contribute, but if they don't get better protection up front, it won't matter. So rate your confidence in the passing game on a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments. I'd say it's a solid 7 or 8 if they can protect. As for the defense, well, here come the run defense concerns again. Kieran Williams gashed the Cowboys a few times, including one long run where he just hit the edge and was gone. No Micah Parsons in this practice obviously hurts, but it exposed a weakness we've seen before. The defensive tackles didn't control the line of scrimmage. The edge setting wasn't consistent, and it's not like the Rams are known for a dominant ground attack. Even with Mazi Smith participating, the Cowboys looked vulnerable in the trenches. So do they need more help up front? I'd say yes. They could use more at corner too. That leads us to the most glaring issue from today's practice: cornerback depth. It's not where it needs to be. Davante Adams, who, granted, is a superstar, absolutely roasted guys like Troy Pride and Andrew Booth. He got open at will, including a score over Booth. Tutu Atwell also beat the coverage on a touchdown that looked like a blown assignment. You can't go into the season with those guys as your CB3 and CB4. You just can't. Israel Mukuamu and Kemen Hall are nice depth names. But are they starter material? Doubtful. You better hope Trayvon Diggs is healthy, and even that's not guaranteed. So yes, the Cowboys need cornerback help. They need reinforcements, whether that's through a Stephon Gilmore reunion or another veteran pickup. Because if injuries hit that group hard again, this team could be in serious trouble on the back end. That's the full breakdown from joint practice. A mixed bag at best. Some good, a lot to be concerned about, and plenty left to improve on. But this is what training camp is for identifying problems before the real games begin. Let's just hope the Cowboys take these warning signs seriously.